What if you woke up tomorrow with $500,000 in your bank account, a cool $500,000, and you decided, that's it, I'm done. No more work, no more side hustles, just you and that money. Could you actually pull it off and live the rest of your life without ever earning another dollar? It's a question a lot of us dream about, but today we're going to get real and break down the actual math. We'll look at investing, realistic expenses, and what kind of lifestyle you could expect. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how much income 500K can generate, how long it could last, and the smartest way to structure it all. First, let's get one thing straight. $500,000 is a huge amount of money, a life-changing sum for most people, but it's not I'm on a yacht and I never have to think about money again, rich, at least not without a solid plan. If you just let that cash sit in a checking account, you're actually losing money every single day. Why? Inflation. At a pretty standard 3% inflation rate, your $500,000 will lose half of its purchasing power in about 24 years. So, what buys you a nice car today might only buy you a used scooter in 2 decades. The key isn't just having the money. It's making that money work for you and generate an income. So how do you do that? You've probably heard of a famous guideline in the retirement world called the 4% rule. It's a simple concept. You can withdraw 4% of your total investment portfolio in the first year of retirement, and then adjust that amount for inflation each following year. Historically, this strategy has given a portfolio a very high chance of lasting for at least 30 years. What if you were more conservative and you don't want to touch that original $500,000 at all? You just want to live off the interest or dividends it produces. This is the ultimate dream for many, preserving your nest egg while the income pays your bills. With conservative investments, you might expect to generate a return of around 3 to 4% per year. At 3%, your $500,000 would produce $15,000 a year, which is just $1,250 a month. At 4%, you're back at that $20,000 a year figure. The major advantage here is that your principal, your $500,000, stays intact. It's not shrinking. But the trade-off is that you have to live a very modest lifestyle. This strategy works best if your major expenses are already handled, like your housing is paid off, you have zero debt, and you live somewhere very affordable. And that brings us to the single biggest factor in this whole equation: location. Where you live will completely change the answer to our question. Let's look at the numbers. In a major US city, the average monthly expenses for a single person, including rent, food, and transportation, can easily be around $3,700 a month. That's over $44,000 a year. Your $500,000 simply won't be able to generate that kind of income sustainably. You'd burn through it way too fast. But what if you moved? In a smaller, low-cost town in the US or even certain countries overseas, your expenses might drop to around $1,800 to $2,000 a month. That's about $24,000 a year. Suddenly, we're in a much more realistic territory. If you combine the 3 to 4% income your investments generate with a small, strategic withdrawal from the principal, you could potentially stretch that $500,000 for 25-30 years, or maybe even longer. Your address has a massive impact on your financial freedom. Of course, life is never that simple. There are always risks we have to plan for. A major stock market downturn could seriously hurt your portfolio, especially if it happens right after you retire and you re-forced to sell investments at a loss just to pay your bills. Then there's inflation again. Over decades, the cost of essentials like healthcare, housing, and food will almost certainly rise, meaning your dollars won't go as far. And what about the unexpected? A sudden medical bill, a major home repair, or a family emergency can pop up at any time. When you have no job and no new income coming in, your emergency fund becomes absolutely critical. Personally, if I were in this situation, I would keep at least 1 to 2 years' worth of living expenses in a safe, easily accessible cash account. The rest would be invested conservatively. This approach helps reduce the stress of short-term market swings and gives you a buffer for life's surprises. So let's put it all together. How long does $500,000 really last? It all comes down to your annual spending. Your lifestyle is the one variable you have the most control over. If you can live comfortably on $20,000 a year, your money is likely to be sustainable for the very long term, possibly forever if invested well. If you increase your spending to $30,000 a year, you're probably looking at a timeline of 20 to 30 years. Bump that up to $40,000 a year, and your nest egg might only last 15 to 20 years. And if you're trying to live a $60,000 a year lifestyle, you could burn through that $500,000 in under 15 years, maybe even less than 10. The real question you have to ask yourself isn't, how much money do I have? But, how much life do I need to fund per year? Your spending rate determines everything. Finally, there's a side to this that we rarely talk about. The psychological side. The idea of doing nothing all day sounds amazing when you're stuck in traffic on your way to a job you dislike. But for many people, the reality can be quite different. After the initial novelty wears off, a life without work can lead to boredom, a sense of isolation, and a feeling of purposelessness. We often forget how much of our identity and social life is tied to our careers. The happiest, most fulfilled, financially independent people I know rarely just sit on a beach all day. They often find new ways to contribute, whether it's through volunteering, consulting on passion projects, or starting a small business. Not because they need the money, but because human beings are fundamentally wired to build, create, and connect with others. So let's circle back to our original question. Can you live off $500,000 and never work again? The answer is a conditional yes. It is possible, but it requires a very specific set of circumstances. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on making your money work for you. See you in the next one.